Hello, and welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today, we're going to do a fast and loose watercolor landscape painting using the Vinci brand Raw Umber Natural. This is PBR7, Raw Umber Natural Iron Oxide containing manganese, and it has an excellent life fastness. So I'm going to give that a go. My paper, I'm setting it up a little bit different. It is 8 by 15. So I wanted to kind of do a 1-to-2 ratio, horizontal, where if it was matted, it would be about 7 to 14 is the goal here. So with this, it's a 90 pound. It is, I believe, the fawn toned paper. 100% cotton. Let's see if there's no reflections. Yep, we're doing good. We're going to use the Hake brush, and we'll dive right into it. Oh, wow. Okay, so this looks different than raw umber usually. There's kind of a yellowish tint to it. So hopefully you can see that there. It didn't look like it would. It's almost like gamboge, new gamboge, mixed with a umber. Okay, so that's interesting. I didn't expect that at all. So let's go into it. Now, if you'd like to support this channel, I have the Patreon linked down below. Liking and subscribing helps. And as usual, you are more than welcome to follow along, and you have my express permission to sign your own name and sell anything you do when you follow along. All right. Putting that in. Has a really interesting glow to it. That's probably the biggest thing I'm going to comment on throughout this. Just how it's definitely unique amongst the earth pigments. If you have any idea what other ones might be close to this, let me know. And I'll look on their website to see if they say anything particular about it. But I don't know. Kind of dab it in. About here would be 17. I really like the 1-to-2 ratio, but I personally really never use it. Reason being is that I don't think there's an easy way to get matte in bulk cut like this. It might be something I have to look into. And I don't usually see frames that are set up like that. I did a quick Amazon search, or just a Google search in general, before I had started, and they had some up on Amazon, and a lot of them came pre-matted, but were pre-matted for 3 photos, so they had the slits across. And usually with painting or photography, it's 4 by 6, 5 by 7, 8 by 10, 9 by 12, 11 by 14. Those are all kind of the common matte openings. I'm not quite sure what the ratio is there, but it's kind of your stereotypical canvas that you're seeing. Let's see. Nine to 12 would be 3 to 4, right? Okay. So we have the paper towel. We'll move some things around. Darken up that sky. Let's see. I do feel like this is giving us a wider opening. I was very tempted to do the half sheet, which was the 22 by 15. I had done one with a lead up to a big full sheet painting, and that video is up on the Patreon. Okay, let me put this brush down for a little bit. I got the number 1. Let's see what we can do with this. With this technique, you're going to go through a decent amount of paint, mainly since you're using straight from the tube and you're only using one tube. So just be prepared to put out some globs of it. Let's make a big rise right here and have some trees coming out. Sometimes I feel stagnant in my compositions, and this might help out. Now when I go wet and wet, I kind of really don't worry too much about that initial tree application. And I would think that my approach to it comes from Stephen Cronin. Years ago, watching him build up interior scenes, where the initial application going in is going to diffuse, it's going to soften, and you're going to put other layers on top of it. So we have that. You could move a little bit of ideas back in here. And pull down some reflections below. It's like a little glob of paint sitting on the brush that they don't want to disperse. Let's put some horizontal lines for that water to give that 2D plane going back a look. Looks like my light source, I'll put it a little bit off center. Pull a little bit of light to come through. We'll pull a little bit of light on the water here. Maybe open up some low-lying land in that foreground. It almost reminds me of the goethite, however it's pronounced. I really don't know. Goe from Daniel Smith. That's what it kind of reminds me of. This weird clump that just doesn't want to mix. Just pass it back over in front. Let's see. Now, using a linear perspective, so we can see where these distant trees are. I'm going to do some more trees that are closer, but I'm going to go lower in the picture plane, and that's going to make them appear closer to us. So you can see I started one right here, so that's going to help us go forward. I'm going to attempt to use more pigment with this, because I just kind of go with tonal values, and as I move forward in the picture plane, I will get darker. And hopefully you'll see what I'm talking about. There we go. I have some canvases that, or panels, that are in the 2:1, 1:2 ratio, but they're small. For some reason, they're always more expensive. I guess it's just not something that people will go towards as commonly as just the standards. Though it's interesting, in Chinese art, in Oriental art, Asian art, there is extreme ratios between the two, with the hanging scrolls and the scrolls that they would open up and roll along the table, and you would view that landscape. It might be kind of like music, where we have the relationship between notes and the scales, and we kind of gotten to the point where we feel like, one scale is happy, one scale is sad. And things just seem to tickle the brain in a certain way. It might be the same thing with the orientation and the size ratios of landscape painting. Now, there's some parts that are starting to be pure pigment blotches, and sometimes paintings will dry a little splotchy because of that. So we'll have to see how this paint works. I'm going to pull here. There we go. All right. So beyond that, unique color, the composition, I'm enjoying it. I'm glad that I did this. We haven't done a dry off yet. It does seem to want to be, like I said, a little splotchy, or it doesn't want to kind of mix. I think what we might benefit from is doing a dry off. It does seem to go back to the white of the paper very easily, so no issues there. Scraping, it has such a soft feel to it that I almost don't want anything too harsh in it. I'll just use the scraping tool. This is a large side of a credit card, just to move some of the paint around, just to get some texture. A little splotch there that I moved around. I can do that here. Do we want to scrape? Yeah, let's do a scrape. There we go. So I'm using this wide part right here, and using it on an angle to adjust the width of it. I'm making it wide so that it doesn't backfill as easily. Whenever you scrape, if you have a lot of moisture on the paper, the pigments will want to come back in and darken those spots. I'm just not looking for that right now. There we go. I haven't scraped this aggressively in a while. I've been playing with painting bells, like just still lifes, just experimenting with the dry brush. And I've been using a lot of the razor blade for scraping and getting the white of the paper. So just been playing with textures lately. Let's see, anything else I want to pull around before I do a dry off? Now, one thing with oil painting, and so this is watercolor, but I watched Stuart Davies scrape tree branches out. Now, that we can't really do with watercolor, because as you can see, it backfilled. We can get some different effects with it. In fact, I can put some in now. I think we'll do a stick coming up over here, but probably towards the end. I'll at least add some around it so we get more of an effect. Okay, that's cool. All right, I'm going to pause the camera, see if you can see a tonal shift that takes place. All right, this is pretty interesting. So for me, it moved a little bit away from the yellow to a more brown, kind of a beach brown, but it has a very old world feel to it. Through my lens, it looks a little bit yellower, and we can see variations within it where we have kind of that chocolatier brown taking place. And here's some of those splotchy applications, which really aren't like glaringly obvious in a bad way. And yeah, I'm liking this tube. I'm trying to think of what one can use as a replacement for this. And gamboge is kind of what is coming to mind. I wonder how that would be mixed with a brown. I am very excited to have this tube. I'm not sure if it's full to potential yet, but I think that there's a lot that can be done. Right now I'm just kind of stippling with the hake itself. I don't have a lot planned for what I want to do with this. A lot of it's stream of conscious painting and thinking what looks good, and then you start coming up with little rules and patterns for yourself that just start creating a scene. Let's see. That looks too much like a weird line. The cats have the zoomies. I'm gonna darken some spots along these tree trunks. And put some small grass and brush around them. Just building up the illusion. Wonder if we can go sharp. There we go. So the scrapes are filled in a little bit with some of that hake texture. Bristle brushes, worn out brushes that you cut can give you these textures. I don't know if I mentioned fan brushes. And texture-wise, we can get some marks in this. Let's do another dry off. I am just very, very pleased with this tube and the way everything's looking for it. I think that I'd have to get some more as backup. It just has so far a nice value range, or I'm able to get these darks. We have our super lights. It doesn't have a lot of granulation as much as some other pigments and paints, but just the overall the vibe, the feel of this paint just has just an old world glow to it. I know I keep on harping on it. And that's the point of these videos, is for me to experiment different tubes and to see what I like and what I don't like. But this is definitely a keeper. Without a doubt, this paint is really cool. When I use Raw Umber, I used it a lot as the background of still lives. I kind of just like that vibe. I would put Raw Umber as kind of greenish brown, a dark, using it with burnt umber. The two are almost complementary, using the warmer burnt umber with the greener, cooler the raw umber. So the burnt and the raw really kind of worked great together. Put some thicker grouping of foliage. I wonder how this would be for still lives if you wanted to paint something that was coppery or golden or bronzy. I wanted to put some branches right there. If you have any interesting pigments that you would like me to try, let me know down below. And if there's anything you'd like to see, let me know. I take the money that is donated through Patreon to purchase new supplies and to run these experiments. So I'll do what I can. But let's do our last dry off. All right, there we have it. I signed it right on the side. Honestly, this color combination, this paper, it's giving me the vibes of if I had to choose one tube of paint, what would I use? I'm really enjoying it that much. I'm probably gonna have to do another painting session with just this. So I hope you enjoyed. You'll have a great day, and I will be back soon.